Welcome, welcome. Greetings. Let me introduce myself. I am Count Dracula. Not really. Ooh, that went in a bad place. Hello, boys and berries and Sagittarians. This is probably going to be a cut chat. So, tighten up your belts and get ready to throw stuff at the TV or computer. Computer, yeah. TV's not copacetic. I haven't watched TV in probably 20 years. And it hasn't affected me any. Anyway, when I figured out, somebody told me about them banning the Confederate flag, which me and my family and most all the people I know calls it a rebel flag, because there is no more Confederate, and as far as I know, of course I'm not in a clique with stuff like that, and I don't want to be. But anyway, they're banning the Confederate flag, which is actually what we call the rebel flag. Who said that first? I think I did. And I think it's ridiculous to get rid of a flag because of, a few people that won't let the stupid thing, some of the bad stuff or all the bad stuff go away. And there haven't been slavery in our country in zillions of years. And actually there's been more than just black folks have been slaves. My great-grandma Emma, she was a Cherokee Indian, and she was a slave until she got to be, I think, 25. And they took her out of the line on the Trail of Tears, which went right past Leslie and out through there, which is the great genocide that the American flag did for the Indians. And that was just as bad, or kind of real bad compared to, it was kind of like a Hitler thing. They got rid of tens of thousands of Indians in the march, and on the way there and on the way where they were, and they put them where they couldn't live as easy as they could in the worst part of America, they thought. And so that was a big injustice. Lots of injustice going on all over the place right now and forever. Well, not forever. There's going to be a rightness coming down the pike. But from my standpoint of born in Illinois and then moved all over the country, my mom and dad were, I guess what you call today, migrant workers. They would follow the crops. They'd pick cherries in Michigan and apples in Illinois and cotton down south, and plant trees in Arizona and some other places. They would just follow the crop, and we traveled with a lot of different people. A lot of different colored people. I mean, brown people, yellow people, red people. And I grew up not seeing the difference in them. I do see the difference between mean people and not mean people. And that's pretty much the way I kind of gauge people, which I don't know if that's a prejudice or not. But it ain't up to me to judge. It's for somebody else a lot taller than me to judge. So I don't like them banning anything. The government banning anything. I think it should be up to you whether you feel comfortable in waving old Dixie or not. I always thought it would be really cool to have a Rebel license plate on the front of my truck. But I didn't have it on there because I didn't want to offend a lot of my friends, all different colored friends, you know, for them thinking that, you know, for it hurting their feelings and stuff. So for that reason, I didn't get one and didn't display one. And my dad and a bunch of his old cronies and stuff believe the same way. We're not out to hurt anybody's feelings. The world will do that for you. So anyway, I always call myself a hillbilly instead of a redneck, because I know a few rednecks that are a little bit on the prejudice side, and some are a lot on the prejudice side, and they carry the banner of being a redneck and all this other stuff, which I have redneck ways, but not against people. So, and I grew up knowing and seeing hillbillies loving everybody. Everybody that would come into town, it didn't matter where they come from, even Yankees. They were just embraced and made fun of like the rest of us do, and they didn't run them out of town or nothing. So consider myself a hillbilly in that respect. Let me show you some terrible things. I researched this stuff. Oh, they said that the South lost the Civil War, and the South did surrender, I guess. But I think it was more of a, I don't know if it was political or what, but I said again, the South killed almost twice as many Union troops as they did us, or them. And most of them, a lot of them were, Lincoln was using a bunch of hired guns. So, of course, he had some really good people from Pennsylvania that were crackerjack soldiers, and a couple of other states was really good at warfare. But he had mercenaries from all over the world, from the Frenchians and all over people was there. So we weren't all the time, they weren't all the time fighting Americans, but they were fighting hired guns and stuff, mercenaries, which, you know, got the job done evidently. We killed more of them than they killed of us, and captured and burnt the White House and done all sorts of weird, ridiculous things, and still the South lost. So figure that out. Oh, and some hard-nosed guy told me about Nathan Bedford Forrest, a great general from the South. And he was a great general. He was fearless. He had dozens of horses shot out from under him, and he was shot dozens of times, and very brave. And he went on after the war, and he organized the KKK, Nathan Bedford Forrest. And then 2.5 years later, he got in there and they started killing folks and hanging them and doing bad and mean and horrible things. And he disbanded the KKK. And he pursued the people that were responsible for doing that to these folks. And he'd shoot them, he'd hang them, he'd prosecute them, he'd done everything he could to stop that. He had a tender heart at the end. He figured out what they were doing. They weren't keeping the Southern traditions alive. They were just shooting people and being evil to people of different color. And that wasn't what he was about, and he tried to do that. So him from being a monster to a liberator, you know, people can change or whatever. I don't know. I just learned that. I'm still researching it. Anyway, I have a couple of these medallion things. I'll show you the bad one first. I hope you can see this. This one says Berkeley County, South Carolina, and it's got a number and some other kind of numbers. And this says, hello, house servant. Can you see that now? House servant. So this was evidently a slave, what a slave would wear. And it's from Oakwood Plantation. Dug this stuff out of a fire, 1827. You can understand why these were burnt, to hide the truth. And her name was Sarah. Such a beautiful name. But I reckon this is part of our heritage, theirs and ours and theirs and the whole world, that is no more. And then this one is dated while the war was going on. Let me see. I never checked this before. 1863. Now look that up and see which end of the war was going on. This one says washerwoman, Confederate States of America. I don't know how that ended up. These are quite heavy. I can't imagine people wearing this stuff around their neck. 1863 Confederate washerwoman. This one says the bearer regulation FN 40, which I would figure that as a female Negro, is a free black woman and is authorized to wash clothes for the troops and to be issued a regular food allowance each day. I don't know if you can get that. Hopefully you can. Pause it or pause it or something. So, at some point in time, the South, some of people in the South, turned their folks loose, and they found themselves without the ones that didn't go up north. They found themselves in the home that they have known all their life, but with no job or no way to feed themselves. So I guess they was obligated, or through necessity, got jobs maybe with this lady here with Confederate forces. But anyway, I'm not here to talk about that, but I did. And a couple of my great ingrate relatives was into making bombs, come to find out. So and they would make look up the Rains, R-A-I-N-S. There's two brothers that would make bombs that would look like coal. They were black and they were encrusted and stuff. And they would throw them into the coal bins of the ships or the trains for the Yankees, and when they throw them in the furnace, it would blow the thing up. And I don't know how many. I think they sunk several ships and blowed up lots of locomotives that way. But they're pretty bright as far as making bombs. Go figure, somebody in my family good at blowing stuff up. Who knew? But the point of I wonder how long this is getting. Oh my gosh, 15,000 minutes. Okay, here's the gist of the thing. I sent Scott Best, Scott's Garage, a CD that I made up of songs that I listen to when I'm in the garage. And he thought it was really neat. I have a very strange way of way of thinking, and I think inverted and all this other stuff. I have weird taste. But he enjoyed it. So I'm thinking that maybe some of y'all and us and them and whosoever can make a garage CD of garage music, and we could swap them around. Wouldn't that not be cool? We could enjoy y'all's music while you're enjoying what we think is good. Think about that, and let me know, or let everybody know, if it's a good idea or not. It won't cost much just to burn something. Here's one worm burn. Burn something like that and cram it in the mail. And let somebody enjoy your taste or lack thereof, the music. Anyway, I'm going to say sorry not to y'all. And I love y'all. And y'all don't fret. The world's going to be alright. I promise. Bye-bye.